Hello, hello, hello. Making sure we're getting on Facebook. You guys all got the hello, Tanya. Hello, Carrie and Pam. How are you guys today? Can you hear me okay? Okay, perfect. Okay. Oh, we got another one jumping in. So we look like we are live on Facebook. If anybody is watching, please drop hashtag live to make sure that is working how it's supposed to. Welcome to the Get Fit With Me, Expanding Your Physical and Mental Fitness group. This group is for individuals who are ready to expand both their physical and mental fitness while helping and supporting others with similar goals all along the way. I wish I would have learned sooner that you can't work just on your physical fitness and you can't work just on your mental fitness. They work together. So in this group, I help bring in the physical portions through our movement workshops and then our mental fitness through nutrition, stress management, anything revolving around our mental fitness. So today we have 3 new members. One of them is actually on the call with us today. We have Carrie, Laura, and Karen. Happy to have you guys in the group. That is 3 new members this week. Carrie, thank you for jumping on first week in the group and being on a live call. I'm impressed.
Yay, thank you.
So quick announcement, you guys probably saw on Monday, I had a little post. As of this past Monday, I am a full-time Get Fit With Me as my career. So I will be doing this all of the time. I was doing in-person training, and then with transition happening, I wanted to move into this full-time. So this is my new full-time gig, and I am freaking pumped about it. What we like to do in this group is go around the room and tell us who you are, where you're from, and because today's topic is about no more calorie counting or macro counting, I want to know, have you ever counted calories or macros, and what was your experience behind it? So, Tanya, I know you know the drill on this one. You want to start us out? Who you are, where you're from, and do you have experience with macro or calorie counting? I cannot hear you.
My name is Tanya Wimhoff. I'm from Clarks, Nebraska, and I did count calories. I did Weight Watchers once, and then I did do Noom, and that did help me. But now I'm stuck again.
And overall, you found it was pretty good for you, though? Did you have any bad experiences with it?
No, of course, I got in when it was experimental, so it was cheaper. But I liked it because it gave me options for things to eat that I could have on hand instead of grabbing the candy or the chips.
Well, perfect. Thank you for being here. Let's go to Kathy next, because I know she knows what this drill is about. Who you are, where are you from, and do you have experience with calorie counting or macro counting?
Hello, I'm Kathy. I'm from Lansing, Michigan, and I've done the MyFitness.
Oh, you're muted. You're muted. Let me see. Cherry, let's bounce around to you real quick.
Okay, can you hear?
Oh. Either one, Carrie, you go.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
I can.
Okay, my Wi-Fi, I had to cut it off and just work off the cell phone. I'm out of my workshop today, so forgive that. I've done Weight Watchers before, but it's been many, many years, and I actually did not go back when they changed from counting points to basically eating anything you want. That did not work for me. So I haven't really been back to tracking really everything that I was eating. So I thought I could do this on my own, and that hasn't happened, but I'm pretty good about fitness. I do walk many times a week. I have a 5-year-old dog that keeps me moving, and I do furniture all day long. So I do some movement, not as much as I want to, but I really want to get the eating habits under control. That's basically where I am.
Awesome.
Oh, and I'm sorry, I'm from Rising Sun, Maryland. I forgot to say that.
Perfect. Thank you for being here and being brave enough to jump on the first call of your first week. So
Yeah.
I'm happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Cherry, how about you now? How about where are you from, who you are, and have you ever counted calories or macros, and what was your experience with it?
Sherry from Springfield, Missouri. I'm a mom of 9, and calorie counting, never. No experience, nothing in that realm. I just kind of do it like, if I can say no and stop, if I can stop myself, or portion sizing. Like if I want something, I'll take a little bit out of the bag and then I'll eat that instead of the whole bag, that kind of thing. So I don't know if that counts as calorie counting. I don't actually count the calories listed.
So that technically is not, but that is a whole nother area that we have to talk about. So that is perfect that you have experience in that area. So perfect. Kathy, how about you? I think you got muted there for a second.
Yeah, sorry, I had to take the phone call.
Oh, no.
I've done the counting on MyFitnessPal, and then on Fitbit, I do log my food every day, and try to stay within a range. I find it's helpful.
Do you like MyFitnessPal or Fitbit better?
Actually, both of them were good. I was on MyFitnessPal when I didn't have a Fitbit. And once I got one, then it's just easier to stay with the same thing for all of it.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about that too, because I used to use MyFitnessPal, and then with my Fitbit, they have a different integration of how to track stuff.
Right.
And Pam, I know you were probably in and out. I don't know if you're on live. If you are, let us know who you are, where you're from, and if you have experience with any of calorie counting or macro counting. So this is probably the biggest group we've had in a little bit, and I love this. It's usually me and Kathy, or me and one other person, or just me on my own. I can talk to myself. You guys know that. You've watched enough of those. So today's training all kind of sparked. So last week I asked at the end, what do you guys want to learn about? Do you guys want to learn nutrition? What types of stuff? And nutrition came up the most. So I thought back to when I used to count calories and how stressful it was. And I'm going to tell you a little story about how I started doing it and how I've moved into what I currently do, which is completely stress-free and can be restarted at any time. So I started MyFitnessPal back when I want to say it was 2013. It was about the time when Twitter blew up. Twitter and MyFitnessPal were the two apps that everyone was downloading. So I downloaded MyFitnessPal, which for those of you who don't have experience with it, you open up this app, you can put in your food, you can put in your drinks, it's essentially a tracker. The nice part is if you scan a barcode, all the ingredients, all the information from it goes into the system. When you start tracking though, they ask you what your current weight is, where you'd like to be, and how many pounds per week you'd like to lose. Either 0, would you like to maintain? Do you want to lose a half a pound, 2 pounds, or do you want to gain weight? At the time, being in high school, still not knowing really anything about it, I would put the 2 pounds. I'm like, yeah, I need to lose 2 pounds. Looking back, that wasn't the healthy decision. But in the moment, that's what everybody was doing. I didn't know better. So what happened was I would input my food. So because of where I started and where I wanted to be, every day I got X amount of calories. As I inputted my food, it would take calories away from the number I got to start with, eventually getting to equaling how many calories you could keep eating as you inputted throughout the day. Eventually that number would hit 0 and I would try to stop eating. But because I'm a big eater, I always have been, I would get to like 2 in the afternoon and my calories would be at 0. So then I would eat more, I would track it, and then that number would go to red. And I would feel awful for eating that food. I'd feel guilty. The stress of like, even if it was the biggest, most delicious salad, like I felt all that guilt and shame of going over my calories. Went through that cycle for longer than I should have, probably a few months. And then I went to the whole, well, I just won't put it in, I'll just lie. So I'd eat till it was 0, and then I just not record anything after that because I didn't want to see the red, which is also not something you want to strive for. Feeling bad about what you're eating and then lying about what you're eating. 2 things that are kind of red flags that you're not doing something right. I did not realize they were red flags until a couple years later that those were red flags, that I wasn't eating enough, that I wasn't eating, although I was eating the right things, I still was eating too much, and it just wasn't working. It caused a really bad mindset for myself that if you were to look in a dictionary, is probably an eating disorder of some sort. And I wasn't enjoying what I was eating. I wasn't going out and having fun like I wanted to. I was constricting myself to fit into this number. And I did not want to do that anymore. So originally went to school to be a dietitian, realized I did not want to, honest opinion here, I did not want to do that much chemistry. That had too much chem in my book for me to move forward. And I liked exercise better. So I still got my nutrition minor. And in my nutrition minor, I then realized the importance of the awareness. Not so much you have to eat this amount of calories or this amount of macros, but learning the importance of awareness and what you are putting in your body. So I've moved to an awareness system that I'm going to teach you guys today. And it is super simple. And I'm only going to teach you the first 2 steps. It can be anywhere from 4 to 8 steps, depending on how we need to break it down. Today, we're going to teach the first 2. And this is going to be something I'm going to teach for the next couple months. So once a month from here until we get to the end. Because if you guys know me, and if you guys probably know yourselves, if you go from doing nothing to doing it all, failure is a lot more likely. And that's not what I want from you guys. I want you guys to do 1, 2, maybe 3 small things to see those wins and get that success and to create a habit out of this. So,
Right.
Any questions?
No, not for me.
Perfect. Okay, so 2 things. Number 1 is, have you guys ever created a food log? So when I say log, I mean like, have you guys ever wrote down the food you ate in a day?
Yeah.
Have you found that helpful?
I found it helpful, but I found that I got lazy afterwards, stopped doing it, and then I felt guilty about that.
Okay, I completely get that, because for me, I don't want to have to think about it. I don't want to have to think about all the time writing down what I eat, thinking about how much is in stuff. I want to be able to eat freely and feel good about it.
Yeah.
You guys know me, I like to eat. So what I'm going to teach you guys today is an easy food log. You can do it in a notebook. I suggest a bound notebook so you don't lose the piece of paper, or to open up your notes section on either your laptop or on your phone and create a running list. There's only 4 things you're going to put on it, technically 5. The date will go at the top. So whatever day of the week or date it is, you're going to write breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. That's it. When you eat breakfast, you can either do this at the start of your day. If you are so prepared that you have your entire day of meals planned out, you are more than welcome to write at the start of your day. I'm the type of person that writes it all at the end of my day. So you'll go through and you'll write what you ate for breakfast. So I'll go through what I had today. I had 2 eggs, piece of toast, cream cheese, and a piece of ham. Lunch comes around, I wrote what I ate for lunch. I had a burrito. For a snack, I had jerky. And for dinner, I'm going to have a salad. So I write all of my things down. I don't write how many. I don't write what was in it. I don't write the brand. I write as generic as possible, as if you are in 3rd grade and you are writing a recipe to something. Because all we are doing is creating awareness of what is going into our body. So you're going to do that for just 1 week. The tricky part is, do not change your eating habits. As soon as we start recording, we start seeing like, oh, I had a cookie right after dinner. I had a cookie after breakfast. I had a cookie after lunch. So the next day after seeing that, you're going to want to change your normal eating habits. And I want you guys to try to do a full week of logging how you are actually eating. After a week, we are going to reconvene. So if you would like, I will do a food log audit. So essentially we'll jump on a quick call and I will go over your food log with you and help you see the similarities and things of, yep, this is kind of where you're falling into, you're eating this or you're not eating enough of this. How can we incorporate more vegetables, more fruit, more protein? And we kind of can look through it. I do that about once every 2 to 3 months. Whether I feel like I'm doing good on my path or not, I redo it because I like to see where my habits forming. We do things and we don't even realize it. So you're going to create a log. I will also upload a template later today. I have a Word doc so you guys can kind of see of date, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, beef jerky, eggs. Keep it as simple as you can, just so we can see a pattern. After that log is done, we look over it. How's all that sound so far? Does it sound taunting? Does it sound something kind of interesting to do? What's your thoughts on this? Tanya says good.
Sounds good to me.
Do you feel like it's something that's manageable?
I do, in that it's simple. I was always trying to spell everything out and the amount of what I was eating and making sure I was filling every hole, like the proteins, vegetables, the water. So I like how simple this homework is.
Good. And that's what I want. And then, so let's say you start tomorrow. Next Friday, we can try to schedule a call and then go over it so that you can see your own patterns. And then I can help fill in those gaps of ways where we're like, oh, I didn't realize I wasn't doing this portion of my nutrition. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Do you want the beverages and everything filled out? Like if we drink water or iced tea, or you want everything written out, coffee?
So that's a great question. If you are drinking plain water, it's always good to kind of track and get a sense of that. And anything that has calories. So if you are drinking anything that has any sort of calories, pop, coffee with creamer, things like that, then track it just so we can kind of see. If you are drinking water and you're not writing down, not the end of the world. It is still good to track to see where your starting point for water is and where we need to be. Because a lot of us don't drink enough water in the day. It's just, but until we see that number, we don't realize we're only drinking 1 water bottle. You're like, oh, that's not enough. Terry, how about you? How does this feel to you?
The idea of it sounds great and I like the simplicity, but actually committing to writing it down each day, I'm not sure if I'm ready to do that. I already feel like, okay, you got me on the get a journal, write down your top priorities to do. I'm doing that, but now I got to add my food that I'm eating. Great.
And this is something that you don't have to implement right now. Remember, we learn things all the time, and whether we use it now or we use it 6 months down the line, you at least still have the information so that when you're ready and you feel comfortable to take that next step, you're like, I have all the stuff I need. I'm ready to move into that. And you can start with, I always also like to tell people, break it up into one thing. Track just your water or track just your breakfast. Instead of all of those meals, maybe it's just your snacks because you realize you're snacking every 3 hours. And it's usually something out of the cupboard. See what kind of pattern, kind of like, it doesn't have to be the whole day. The whole day is ideal, but it's not necessary. Kathy, how about you? How's this feel to you?
Well, I already do it with Fitbit, but do you want it to be written in a journal? Is there an advantage over that?
Nope. If you are comfortable and you feel like you have success with using Fitbit, you can use that and just screenshot and send me that kind of stuff and we can go over it. The journal is just For people who don't like to use apps such as myself and just needs the visual awareness of things, writing it down is just easier. But if you are comfortable using Fitbit or MyFitnessPal, keep using it. If it works, use it. And we can definitely do a food audit after with that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Perfect. Tanya, how about you? How's this feeling for you?
Yeah. I'm kind of like Cherry. Okay. I mean, I feel like I'm overwhelmed with what I'm doing anyway, and I'm supposed to be retired. But you know, I'll try either that, or sometimes I can still use my new map, which is a little different. So one or the other, it depends upon what I'm feeling like. Probably be easier if I wrote it down.
I find it's less things for me to have to figure out, because if I have just that little, like it take for me, depending on how big I write, it's like 4 pages for a week. I'm like, okay, type of thing. But same thing. If you are not feeling like you're ready to take that on, you have the materials, and I will always do a food audit for you. So if it's not now and it's 6 months down the road, it's not like you're missing out on the opportunity. I'm always here to support you guys when you are ready to take that next step, because it does not work unless you are ready. I can be as ready for you as I want, but I'm not the one doing it for you.
True.
So just kind of think, is it something that you're ready to do just a small piece now? All of it, none of it? At the end, we will do kind of what are you going to kind of commit to and work on. We have one more step that I'm going to teach you. It's step 2. You can do it along with, you can do it in addition to step 1, or you can do it before. I just kind of go through it as separate steps. You can do it before step 1, and it's a little less time consuming. So any questions on step 1? Do we feel pretty confident? Say no or forever hold your peace.
We're good. We got this.
Perfect. Step 1, check.
You go, Carrie. We like it.
I'm going to keep a log for everybody. We're covered. I got it.
I love it. Okay. Step 2, visually balance your meals. Like I said, I hate tracking things. I want to be able to look down at my plate and know I'm getting all of my food groups. Do you guys remember growing up my plate in like gym class, or like the pyramid? I think it's been a few different shapes. This is me plate is what I'm calling it, because it's mine. And so your plate or your snack should always have some sort of carb, some sort of fat, and some sort of protein. These are supposed to be equal. I'm not the best circle drawer or line drawer, but these are all supposed to be around the same amount. When I look down at any of my meals or any of my snacks, I like to see, do I have some sort of carb? Do I have some sort of fat? And do I have some sort of protein? Can I look down and visually see that? Am I eating a cheeseburger? Does it have mayo on it? Does it have a burger? And does it have a bun? I have all of those groups. It may not be the most healthy option, but you have technically all of those groups. So you can get creative with it. In the morning, I have eggs, potatoes, and then usually some sort of cheese salsa mix. I make a smash, and then I throw veggies and stuff in there. I have my carb as my potatoes, my fat as my cheeses, and my protein as my eggs. Anything you eat, you probably are eating all of those, unless it is pasta. Pasta dishes are about the only thing where you don't always get all 3. You usually get a lot of carbs, a lot of fat, and just a little protein. So on the days where you know you're like, I'm going to have pasta for dinner and we're not going to have meatballs with the spaghetti, make sure you have a little bit more protein earlier in the day to make up for that, or add something to that meal to balance you out. Tanya.
So is this just our meals? Because like I'm hungry right now, so I'm going to go grab a radish.
That's an interesting snack. I don't.
All right, that would be my bag of chips. She's talking radishes.
I was envisioning you were going to say like granola bar. I was thrown off by the radish comment there. So that radish. So essentially what you're going to do is your body's going to eat the radish. You're going to get some energy, but then you're going to crash. You're not going to have a crash like if you've had sugary cereal or straight bread, but your body's going to crash. If you have a radish with, let's say, a little piece of cheese and a little piece of turkey, something to kind of equal it, you're going to stay like this longer until your next meal, instead of kind of going up and then down.
So our snacks are supposed to be balanced just like our meals?
Yes, as best as they can.
That could be difficult.
It can be. My go-to,
Especially when I also will probably have my chocolate covered pomegranate. You know, the
Ooh,
dark chocolate
wow.
pomegranates.
Yes.
They're my weakness.
And it's
And-
like chocolate day today.
Yes, it
Okay.
is.
What?
Yeah.
It's
Oh.
chocolate day today.
So it doesn't have to be in the same sitting, but just know that if the more balanced you are in all of your meals, including your snacks, the more you're going to stay like this throughout the day with your energy, instead of this every time you eat. You go, oh, I'm good, I need a nap. Oh, I'm good, I need a nap. So the more balanced you can stay, I focus more on my 3 big meals. But when I'm traveling, my snacks, I need to have all 3, because those are more of my main meals when I'm on the road and flying and things like that. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So go get your radish. If you go have your radish, eat the chocolate, eat it all, and don't worry about balancing it, because it's not a perfect system, but it's just knowing that when you have that, okay, I'm probably just going to be hungry sooner. Whereas when you have that balance, you're going to be able to stay fuller longer, which in the end is going to mean you're going to eat less throughout the day, because you are keeping a constant fullness or a constant level of energy. You're not going to go below that line or really below and then overeat and eat for days, because we all have done that. If we haven't, please tell me your tricks, because it still happens. So when it comes to your carb is noodles, rice, bread, veggies fall under that carb, fruit falls underneath that carb. Fat is avocados, cream cheese for all you dairy people, butter, anything that's really that the majority of it is kind of a fatty. You're going to use it as like an accent. You're not just going to sit there, unless it's cheese. I'm going to eat cheese alone, but like, you're not going to sit there and eat butter alone. Like, that's not something. Things you cook with. If you cook with olive oil, that counts as your fat when you are looking at your meal.
Why?
Oh, and then your protein can be anything. If you are vegan or you are vegetarian, if you are whatever it is, beans, you can use beans, fish, tuna, chicken, beef, turkey, bison, whatever you eat that has mainly protein, that is your protein group. Does not mean it has to be a full 12-ounce steak when you sit down and you eat your protein. It can be a hard-boiled egg. It can be one piece of jerky. It can be those little things to just level you out and to keep you balanced throughout the day. Questions?
No.
Concerns?
Yes.
Yes. What are your concerns?
I mean, my concern is probably the reason that I am here in the first place. That's my difficulty, is planning ahead and having all of those things that I should be eating all at once and not waiting until I'm hungry and then eating something I shouldn't. Is it well balanced? So that number 2 for me is going to be where I need the most help.
And noticing that is important. And you can already notice that and acknowledge that. So doing the tracking will then help you really see, are your meals balanced, rather than just visually, like looking down at your plate. You'll be able to actually look at a written down list. And then from there, we progress into how do we prep ourselves in the week or in the day to allow us to have those meals prepared.
Yeah.
Or you have a husband that does all the cooking, so.
Please
Lucky.
send him here.
Yeah, but I married a farmer, so it's meat, potatoes, gravy.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
No vegetable. So I have to throw that in there.
Yeah.
You have all 3 of your food groups there, Tanya. You have your fat, your protein, your carb.
Where's my oh, I do, don't I? I just need smaller portions.
And the vegetables are a big thing. Fruits and vegetables are great. They need to be in your diet, but they do fall underneath that carb section. So if you were to say, because I know there are people out there that don't eat bread or don't eat noodles. Good. I can't. I love it all too much. But they supplement their carbs in the day with excess amount of veggies, whether it's spinach, things like that. So it can be done. I like to add those as an addition. My fruits and vegetables are my extras. Those are things that I can have as much of them as I want because I've got my core groups in. I have everything I need to balance my energy level out. Because when I eat, your body eats through the carb. It eats. Once your body's ate all the carbs, it then moves on to the fat that you've ate, eats it all, and then it moves on to your protein. So that's why you guys have heard, oh, just eat protein, you won't eat as much. Because it takes the body so long to process it. We process carbs the fastest. We process fat the second fastest. And then protein takes the longest for our body to process. So nice equal balance allows us to stay here. Miss Pac-Man keeps eating and we are happy all day long. So I want to know from you guys, that's the only 2 things I'm sharing today, because I know nutrition is a lot to 1, wrap our head around, and 2, to start implementing. Nobody wants to tell us we can't eat this, we can't do that. Because if you guys have ever been a teenager, or you have teenagers, if you tell them you can't do something, they're going to make you want to do it more. Same thing goes for us in our eating habits. So I want to go around the room and I want to know, what is your biggest takeaway? And out of these 2 steps, what are you going to either become more aware of? What are you going to implement? What are you committed to doing? What sort of action are you going to take between now and next Thursday around your health, around your nutrition? That's all I want to know. Doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be small. One thing that you are doing for yourself and for your nutrition between now and next Thursday. Kathy, you want to start us off?
I think the one thing, the takeaway I have is the looking at your plate and trying to divide, make sure you have equal amounts of the carbs, the fats, and the protein.
Perfect. And are you thinking you're going to send me a week's worth of food log next week?
Possibly.
Possibly. Okay. If you do, I'm gonna let you be in control of the ball. So if you do it, send it my way. If you want to wait a little bit and then send it my way, I'm gonna let the ball be in your court. You send it when you're ready. Sound good?
Okay.
Perfect. Tanya, how about you? What's your takeaway and what is your action for the week?
Well, I'm with Kathy. I didn't think they were supposed to be equal, the 3. And I eat a lot of carbs in the morning. Like in the morning, it's easy when I'm working to grab a piece of toast. So I think maybe I'll boil some hard-boiled eggs, or maybe have a fried egg. I have been trying to put avocado on my bread and that instead too. So I probably might try to throw in a little bit of eggs.
Perfect. That is my go-to. 2 fried eggs with either potatoes or toast. And then it's either cream cheese or it's cheese of some sort on my potatoes.
But that seems like a lot of food for breakfast.
Tanya, I'm a big eater. Like anyone who knows me personally, like in my life, I could eat for days, but it's all the movement that I do that also I need to eat for that much.
Well, I understand it, but I'm thinking me more than you.
Mhm.
Because, you know, I probably should have had a funeral about 10 or 20 years back when my metabolism died.
Stop it. So instead of, you can always use just like 1/4 of an avocado, 1 egg, 1/4 of an avocado, just getting a little bit, because that will just keep you more balanced. It doesn't have to be, we are all different. We should not be eating the same amount of food as our partner. We are not the same people. So keep that in mind when you are eating as a family. Cherry, you're probably not eating the same amount of food as your youngest one, and your youngest one is probably not eating the same amount of food as your husband. So it's all relative to how we feel. And if you prefer a lighter breakfast, have a lighter breakfast. I'd rather eat a big breakfast and eat less throughout the day, just because I love breakfast. It's my favorite meal. So what's your action, Tanya? Are you going to just kind of start implementing more
protein, because I have a habit of just, grabbing a toast or something like that. So maybe, if I add some protein, sometimes I do my protein shake with blueberries.
Ooh, yum. Perfect.
Mhm.
And same thing, I'm going to leave the ball in your court that if you want to even do a 3-day audit, a 3-day log instead of a week, if you wanted, or you want to just track your breakfasts and you and I can have you and I look over that, we totally can. So ball's in your court. I am here when you are ready.
Okay.
Sherry, how about you? Connected mom.
I like mum. It's
Just
warm.
the awareness, I think, is the biggest thing.
Mom.
I am so busy making sure that all my kids eat that, you don't sit down and actually look at your meal. You don't have time to look. Like, you're just getting for the stuff in between, the leftovers that they leave on your plate. You don't want to waste. You eat that. So implementation here is going to be really tricky. I can tell you right now, I'm not going to write down what I'm eating. But I am going to be more aware of my breakfast. I will skip breakfast because I'm so busy getting the day started. But I am going this week. I'm going to be more aware. I'm going to stop and actually eat breakfast. So that's what I can commit to.
Yay. And
It's huge.
That is huge. And the more you can fuel your body and keep your energy on a good level, the more it's going to push off on the kids. Because you know how they get when they get hangry. If you've ever been around a child when they're hangry, imagine how we express onto them when we're hangry. And we may not feel like that, but we're never as level-headed as when we are actually fueled correctly. I love that. Breakfast next week. We're rocking the breakfasts. Carrie, how about you? What was your insight or takeaway, and what are you committed to in this next week?
I think I'm gonna try to write down every day what I have consumed, and it is gonna make me more aware. I know you said don't change your eating habits, but I don't mind if it does for me because I need that. I have a hard time making myself eat breakfast. I'm never hungry because I start right away with a cup of coffee and then it's downhill from there. So I'm going to try to hold off on that cup of coffee, make sure I eat. Like, my favorite breakfast when I do eat is a little bit of cream of wheat, no sugar, just some blueberries in it. And that's good for me, but there's not much protein in that. So I've got to incorporate protein somewhere. And I think the rest of the day I might feel better if I do that. It'll carry me through.
It will.
So protein is definitely my struggling point.
Okay. Is it just with breakfast you feel, or do you think it's kind of throughout the day the protein's probably more?
It's
strong?
every meal. Yeah,
Okay.
it's all day, every meal. I don't crave proteins.
Oh, I do.
No, I give me carbs, give me fruits and vegetables, and I'm happy. I think I could be vegetarian, maybe. I don't know.
It sounds like it. Do you eat any beans or lentils or eggs and stuff?
Yeah, I don't mind eggs. I'm not a fan so much of cheese, but I do love cottage cheese, so I'll do that. I'll eat fried eggs, hard-boiled eggs, that kind of thing. Now, don't get me wrong, I crave a burger every now and then. It's not like I am saying I'm going to turn vegetarian, and I do occasionally eat kidney beans, but again, it's not something that I would gravitate to. Unfortunately, I like to eat, so I like to eat and enjoy it. Some people can eat to survive, and I wish I were more that way. But I choose things that I like to eat, so I have to choose better.
And throughout, so Carrie, you and I are new to getting into I'm going to say relationship together. So I've known Tanya for a while. I've known Cherry for a while. I've known Kathy in a few different ways. That I want you to be able to enjoy the food in life. That is a huge part of living in America. It's a huge part of traveling, is getting to enjoy those experiences. And experiences usually happen through food and drink.
Right.
It's what it's about. So helping you incorporate that little bit more protein in the morning so that when you go out and you have dinner or drinks with your girlfriends later at night, you don't feel like you have to binge on it because you fueled yourself throughout the day, and you can just enjoy it.
Right. Do you have, and I also want to ask real quick, I didn't see where you're talking too much about vegetables on my plate. So, carbs, proteins, where do the vegetables fit into every meal, or they don't have to?
So they technically fit in the carbs category. So you can count your veggies as carbs. Because when you break it down into macros, so macros are your macronutrients. So it's your carbs, your fat, and your protein. Fruit and veggies fall into that carb category. If you were to Google it, those are the things that go in there. I usually, because I need an actual starch for me to feel satisfied, because that's just how I am, I usually do carbs, fat, protein, and then I usually have a little veggie over here. I have a little side cup, to say, of veggie, because I feel better when I eat vegetables. My mom would probably, if she's watching the replay here, be like, Maureen, you never ate vegetables growing up. I did not, but I love them now. So yeah, they technically fall under the carb, but I usually put them in that little category to the side these days.
Okay, that makes sense. I was supposed to say something other than vegetables. I interrupted myself with a question.
You were sharing your action, and you were going to track your food for a week, and that was going to be your action for the week.
That, and I'm going to incorporate more protein and eat breakfast. So I'm going to jump on the wagon and dive in.
Perfect. And once again, I'm going to throw the ball in your court, but because you have said you are going to track for a week, I will reach out to you next Thursday and see how that went. Okay. And if it felt like it went good, if you only got 4 days, we can jump on and still do a food blog audit, because I want you to get the most out of this.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay. So last thing here before we wrap up, we are almost to November. Holy moly, I can't believe it. So Carrie and Kathy already know about this program, but this is the first that I am sharing it in our group. So last year I did a Commit to Your Health challenge. I had great success with it, but the one thing I saw was the interaction between just the actionable movement of the people in the group. I had a good number sign up, but not very many people took action. So I've completely revamped the program this year. So this year it's the Commit to Your Health program. It is 6 weeks long. It runs from November 21st through January 1st. So you get all that holiday fun up in there. And it's all about committing to yourself and your health this holiday season. If this is something you are interested in learning more of the details about and kind of the in and outs of it, just drop health in the comments and let me know, and I'll reach out to you and give you some more details. We currently have 10 spots filled and there's only 10 spots left. So if it's something you're interested in, please let me know. Even if you're kind of on the edge and you just want to hear about it, let me know. I'm happy to share. But like I said, Kathy and Carrie already know what this is about, and it is growing, and I'm super excited for it this year. I actually just got done doing one of the documents for it, and it looks pretty cool. So if I don't say so myself. But on that note, if we don't have any other questions or comments or concerns.
What about that protein for your breakfast? Can you list off, like, I'm not an egg person. I do not like eggs. So I liked the cottage cheese. The only problem is if I eat cottage cheese, then all my kids want to eat it. So I feel like I have to sneak food too. And that's another issue that I have. Like if I want my food to be different than their food, then I kind of have to do it behind their back or sneak it. And I have trouble with that. So morning proteins, I guess I need a little bit of ideas.
Morning proteins, sausages. You can get the Jimmy Dean breakfast sausages. 2 of those are a good amount of protein. Yogurt. You can do cottage cheese. We can do, I'm one of those weirdos that, like, I eat steak for breakfast. If I had it for dinner the night before, I eat leftovers for breakfast. So if there's anything kind of, my biggest go-to are eggs, sausage, and yogurt. Out of the freezer, sometimes I will grab, they're like little pre-made burritos already. And they're not the most healthiest thing, but convenience-wise and to have all the things, they work great. I'll see if I can find a link for them and drop them in here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. What else kind of things do I think of? So oatmeal, and if you have protein powder, I buy really cheap protein powder because I use it as a filler. I don't use it as a supplementation. I buy mine from Aldi. If you guys know what Aldi is, it's awesome. It's like a TJ Maxx and Marshalls, but for food. And I buy cheap protein and I throw chocolate protein with a little bit of peanut butter in my oatmeal. And right there, I have my carb, my protein, my fat. Things like that. Does that give you some ideas? And I can also think, I have a list somewhere that I can post for you.
Hey, Morgan, do you know about the Carnation instant powder breakfast? Because I do love those, and I'm not sure if they have too much fat content or something, but that's a great option for protein if she's looking for that.
I do not. You said Carnation?
Yeah, Carnation makes it. They come in already made, like a bottle you could drink, but I don't love those. It's a packet. So it's a box with like 8 packets in there, and it's instant breakfast. And it says like 3 times the protein of an egg. And I love the vanilla. So like 1 packet with, I think, like 8 ounces of fat-free milk or whatever milk or water you want to put with it. And I throw a couple of ice cubes in my blender, and it makes like a vanilla milkshake basically in the morning. So if I'm in a hurry, I can grab that and go, and it's very tasty. It doesn't taste powdery or like protein shakes. So she might want to check that out if you look at the ingredients and think that it's doable.
Absolutely. Thank you. I like hearing what other people eat and drink too, because I didn't know about that. So I will definitely look that up, and I will put some comments about it in the comment section of the video on Facebook. Thank you.
Yeah, because I've done protein shakes before, and I always am left with that granular, powdery, chalky taste in my mouth, and I just don't love it. But the Carnation never has that for me. But it probably has too much sugar or something. That's why I like it. So we need to check it out, because I do like it. So I don't want to be, telling somebody they should try it if it's not a good idea.
And I greatly appreciate that. And usually when I do the protein powder, I use just the recommended, and to get rid of that graininess is where that peanut butter comes in the
Gotcha.
oatmeal. So
Did you
if
add
you're-
that to smoothies? Because I do smoothies, but there's no protein, so I need to put
Yeah.
some protein in it.
So
Yeah, I would
yeah.
like the protein powder list that you got.
Perfect. I will do that. And smoothies are a great way because you can drink them, and really, if you put them in a cup that your kids don't know what's in there, they're gonna think it's water.
Yeah. Tell them it's coffee. Ew.
We actually call orange juice in our house coffee because I
Ooh,
don't drink
Orange
coffee. Yeah, and so they would love that if it was orange
Oh,
juice. They'd be like wanting to
right.
drink. But anyways,
I love today's conversation. Today was a great day to kind of go over some of this, and whether you are implementing all of it right now, or you're just, or all today was creating awareness for yourself. Eventually, when you are ready to take that step, you have the knowledge, and that's what I'm here to show you guys, that when you are ready, I'm here. I can help you in any way, and that you have the knowledge because you've showed up, because you know the information, you know where to find it. Next week, we have movement workshop, and we are going to be working on building a stronger core. So if you know your core is a little bit weak, or you have a tendency to throw your back out, or have some kind of stuff go on in that lower back area, make sure to join us next week as we go over how to build a stronger core, just very little things you can do. So awesome job today, you guys. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. I know today was a big group and I loved it. If you know anybody else in the group who you think would enjoy, if you know anyone outside of the group, you know, who would like to enjoy the group, invite them in. I want to see this group grow. I love seeing you guys on here. I will talk to you guys next week. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome.